Happy Sunday. Okay, this is not a Facebook Live video. Obviously, it's a video. It's not going to be professionally done. This thing is going to be raw. It's going to be choppy. I'm probably going to turn it off and on. I'm going to make mistakes. And I'm going to do something really dorky and show you pictures on my computer from my phone. But here's the deal. I've had an exciting story to tell, and I was waiting until the last chapter so that I could give you the full update. And I know that there have been a lot of people out there that haven't seen me in the last year, and so they assume that Rodney buried me in the front yard because we did get a new flower bed. And so to clear his good name, I feel like I need to do this video. Once again, it's going to be raw, it's going to be weird, but I'd rather you hear it from video than have to read it because it's going to be long. So get you a cup of tea and sit down. Here we go. About a year ago, I started being really short of breath. Now, I'm a chubby girl. I do no exercise. I just assumed that's part of aging. But as the year went on, I kept thinking, man, my back hurts all the time and none of my clothes fit. And I'm like, we just moved, and I thought as soon as we get settled in, I'm really going to need to work on getting this body into a shape other than round. So next thing you know, Christmas is coming. I'm working on Christmas. I'm finding myself being less and less social. I just can't go anywhere because I can't even talk because I just can't catch my breath. Excuse me. And so I went to a women's meeting, and I was sitting there and I'm like, man, I can't even have conversation. I'm just so winded. I really need to have this checked out. So I went to the doctor. Now, mind you, I had been to the doctor earlier in the spring with some similar symptoms, some tummy issues, and everybody just said, oh, IBS, and, just eat better. So I've been working on that. But now here it is towards the end of the year, and I'm really starting to notice a lot of bad issues. So back me up to October. I go into the doctor and I said, hey, look, I'm starting to look like I'm about 9 months pregnant. Something's wrong here. And he said, well, let's do some more tests. Let's do some x-rays. Now, mind you, I had already had x-rays early in the year. They showed nothing. They said, you're just full of crap. I didn't know they had a test for that. But apparently I sailed through that one. So here it is, October. They took more tests and they did a bunch of blood work, and they said, look, we don't see anything. We don't think you're dying, but we probably should do more tests. And in my doctor's defense, he really did try and get me to do more tests, but I'm not a big CAT scan x-ray kind of girl because, I don't want to glow in the dark, and it just seemed like those things have a lot of risks. And so I said, let's play it by ear and see what happens. So I do some organic testing and some holistic things, and it's determined I have candida, which is yeast overgrowth. Well, simple. You just cut out sugar and you start eating coconut oil, and there was all kinds of stuff. At one point, I wrote down all the things I tried. I had literally tried over 50 things, from cutting out gluten to adding gluten to cutting out tea to adding tea to you name it, I tried it. And so nothing was seeming to help. Go in, x-rays, nothing. I'm just going to kind of wait till after the first of the year and see what happens. Well, by February, things had really gotten out of control. It was to the point where I could only sleep in about 30-minute segments. I would have to toss and turn. I would have to build a 45-degree angle fort with pillows. And not only did I have to sleep that way, but most of the time I had to sit that way. I couldn't leave the house because I couldn't sit in the car. I would go from our house and drive 5 minutes, and I would be in such excruciating pain in my back that I couldn't do it. But I was convinced I was on the right track. I am a very spiritual person. I really believe that my sheep hear my voice and will follow none other. And I was prayerfully saying, God, lead me, lead me, lead me. And I kept hearing over and over, wait, wait. People would call me and they would say, hey, I really feel like God wants you to know, be patient and just wait. And I'm on the right track. I know that I know I was on the right track. So prayerfully, I just kept drawing closer to God, and I just kept getting more and more word in me. I just was reading the Bible more, had lots of time to do it because I couldn't leave the house and I could barely leave the couch. Fortunately, my family stepped up. They did all the cooking and cleaning. Bonus. I'm going to miss that part, but And so I would spend my days watching Judge Judy and reading the Bible. So I'm very judgy right now, so don't come near me with no sin. And so I continued to grow until about February. It had really, really gotten out of control. Once again, kept praying, God, if you need me to do something different, you're going to have to tell me. Okay, fast forward to June 30th to be precise. I had been throwing up for 3 days, convinced it was the stomach flu. Had no idea that anything was wrong until here we go. Here's one of, oh shoot. All right, I'm going to have to do it really. I'm telling you, this is so unprofessional. Okay, here we go. This is what old Stacy girl looked like. Yep. My doctor said I basically looked like I was pregnant with triplets. So, here it is, the June 30th, and it's a Sunday. And I'm, hold on, I'm going to switch pictures here. I'm telling you, this is really getting bad here. But I had finally reached my maximum point because I told my daughter I went in to take a shower and realized that my stomach overnight had turned completely purple. It was black and blue. So that convinced me that death was close at hand. I had already gotten the death shades, I don't know. But I was convinced that I was about to see Jesus. And so Rodney comes flying home, takes me out to the hospital, and I'm still convinced there's nothing wrong with me. So I'm telling the doctor and the nurse, hey, look, I've been wearing some new shirts here and they're all dark. I don't think this purple stomach is really anything health reason. I think I've just faded a shirt on my tummy. So they grab some alcohol swabs and they're appeasing me. They rub my tummy and they go, no girl, it's you. We're going to send you down for a CAT scan. Funny, because I had made this stand from the beginning that I wasn't going to do a CAT scan. So off I go to CAT scan land. They come in and they said, bad news. Your heart is failing, your kidneys are failing, and your liver is failing. But those are the least of our concerns. We found a mass the size of a basketball in your belly. Now we're going to leave you laying here for a while because we have a shooting down the hall and we need all of our staff down there because the two opposing parties are still having a little bit of a gang war in the middle of the emergency room. So Rodney and I patiently waited getting this news. So I decide to say my goodbyes. I'm like, well, if everything's failing, I love you and you've provided me with a life I have more than I could have ever imagined. It was awful, but I had to say it. So I said my goodbyes and I said, now it's done. Put it away. I'm not talking about it anymore. I'm fighting as if I'm going to live forever, but I had to say it. So we brushed ourselves off and they came in and said, all right, here's the plan. We can't even handle your case. It's so bad. We're going to send you to KU. Mind you, I can't ride in the car for 5 minutes. Now they're going to send me to KU. I said, I can't. And they said, you don't have a choice. They threw me in an ambulance and all the way down, the sweet little ambulance guy is like, I'm sorry, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do? And I'm like, nope, just drive really fast. And so he drove really fast. And the other little guy, he's like, hey, let's play some music. That'll be distracting. So here I am laying on a gurney, strapped in, doing Lamaze breathing because I'm in such pain, thinking everything in me is failing. And here's me and him holding hands. I was drunk the day my mom got out of prison. Yep, singing David Allan Cole. I could have stepped off into glory. And that was literally, it wasn't praise and worship. Nope. Old school country. Rodney would have been very proud. So they get me to KU. They throw me in a room. And they said, okay, we're going to get a doctor. We're going to find out what's going on. Hooked me up to an IV. Just put some juice in me. They said, we got to start a port, whatever. And left me there. Forgot me, I guess. I don't know. So that's Sunday night. Monday morning, they come in and they go, we don't know what's happening, but your liver is working perfectly now. Your heart is beating perfect, and your kidneys are shining stars. Literally, they would come in the room and they'd go, we don't know what happened. I mean, literally, eyebrows were up, and I'm like, I know what happened. I'm praying. Everybody's praying. Rodney's on the phone calling everybody, seriously pray. We're not about to give up on this thing. And all of a sudden, the doctors and nurses are scrambling, coming in going, we don't know what's going on, but girl, you're doing good. And I'm like, well, can you explain why my belly's still purple? You know. So they bring in this Russian doctor. And she's like, I will not speak to you. You are not worth my time. She was not very nice. But I was determined at that point I was going to do whatever they asked me to do because I was going to be a good patient, because my previous medical training taught me that I was failing, and so I needed to probably behave myself. As a matter of fact, my doctor told me recently, he goes, Stacy, you will never know what dire straits you were in. So don't take medical advice from me. Not very good at it. So the Russian doctor comes in. She would look at me. She had her trainees, and she would only speak to them. She would look at me. And she said, we're going to set you up for surgery. We've got to remove the mass, but first we have to remove some of the fluid. A lot of this mass has created some fluid. And so we need to get that removed right now so that we can find out exactly what we're dealing with. I went, okay, whatever. Sounds painless. So I go down. Hold on, I'm opening up some pictures. You got to see this one. And I go down to this periocentesis room. I don't know, but the people down there are the nicest people. If you ever have to get a periocentesis, just know they're good folk. And so they come in and they decided to poke needles into my tummy. And in doing so, this was going to remove some of the fluid. Okay. So, hold on. You're going to love to see this. I just got to figure out where to... I told you. I'll keep talking while it's pulling up. So, they come in and start poking me with needles and drawing off this cappuccino-colored fluid. I'm not even going to show you the picture. Just trust me on this. They were filling 2-liter bottles. At the end of it, they said, we removed 44 pounds of fluid from your gut. Yes, you read that right. 44 pounds of fluid. I went in that room one way and came out another. Now, mind you, I had been stretched to my absolute maximum. I was literally 60 inches around. I was the full length of my tape measure around. I couldn't get any bigger because I was going to have to start measuring with like one of those things that they use for construction that when you push the button, it goes. That was my next because I couldn't find anything big enough to measure me. So I was a full 60 inches around. That meant everything in me was stretched as tight as a drum. So they wheeled me back to my room, and literally I couldn't laugh, I couldn't talk, because all of my muscles, they said, were shredded, were their exact words. All of my abdominal muscles were shredded. So when I would talk, it would just vibrate. It was like blah, blah, blah. It was hilarious. And I couldn't talk for so long because I had no air. And so now here I am just yakking away, but it was hilarious because my stomach was just jelly. So they come in and they go, all right, we're going to do emergency surgery. I said, okay. And then she comes in and she says, not to me, but they tell others, we're going to do this test. And I go, I don't think I need that test. They come in and they said, look, we are the doctors. We say what goes. You're not the expert. We will do what we say we'll do. If you can't work with those parameters, we'll have to find someone new. And I said, I don't think I can work with that. 10 minutes later, they had me sitting on the curb in a wheelchair, holding my purse under one arm and my bouquet of flowers under the other, waiting for somebody to come pick me up. I was the first person I ever met that got thrown out of the hospital for not a crime. I just got thrown out for not wanting unnecessary testing. It ended up being such a God thing. Fast forward, I go to my doctor. He says, I'm going to hand pick you a doctor. And he did. This lady is a saint. I go to visit her and she says, look, we have to get that out. The tumor is bigger than a basketball. It's actually the size of a beach ball. We set up surgery. I start praying. I'm praying. I've been praying. And I said, God, where I'm not good enough, where I'm not strong enough, I just pray mercy. Mercy. Mercy was my word. I would sit on my deck at night and just cry and just say, mercy, mercy. Because I'm not ready to go anywhere. Some people may say, oh, but you know, hey, tough tutor scooter. So I'm praying mercy. And I have this friend who I only know a little, but she's a pastor's wife. And I contact her on Facebook and I'm like, hey, Lori, I really feel like I need you and your husband to pray for me. I don't know why. I've never been to their church. I think I did back in the day. They had an event or something, but it wasn't my go-to. I have a church and that's where I go. But I really feel like I needed her and her husband to pray. And she's like, what can we do? And I said, I can't stand up. I can't get out in public. I can barely ride. They'd removed the 44 pounds, so I had a little bit extra, but still not a lot. And she's like, we'll come out to your car. Do you need to be in private? We'll go to an office. Do you want us to come to your house? I mean, above and beyond accommodating. And I said, no, I know enough to know where the anointing is at. I want to be at the church and I want to be at the altar. So Rodney and I come in on a Sunday at the very end of service, and they were finishing up the sermon, and I am standing, which was difficult for me. And I look at Rodney and I go, man, I'm just shaking all over. And he goes, do you need to sit down? I go, no, it's not that kind of shaking. And I've been in some powerful services before, but this one was something different. So they finished up the service, and the sweet pastor, his name's Craig Orick, in case you're wondering. Pastor Craig came back and he goes, do you want me to pray for you back here? And I said, no, I know where my point of contact is. I can talk about the health side and I can talk about the diagnosis, but when I talk about my faith, it just moves me. So forgive my emotion, but this is the most important part of my story. So I knew where I needed to be. So I went up to the front, Rodney in tow, and Lori said, just stand here. Pastor Craig's got a couple people to talk to and he'll be up in a minute. And we're fine. No big deal. And she goes, do you need to sit down? Do you need to lay down? What do we need to do? I'm like, no, I'm here. And I close my eyes and I'm like, God, I'm here for you. I'm here to meet you today. I don't care about anything else. I don't care what's going on. I just need you today. And Lori, out of her goodness, she's not hearing me. I'm praying this in my head. And she just reaches over and just gave me some love, tapped me on the back. And all of a sudden, it was just Rodney, me, and her standing there. And we were just singing. They were finishing up praise and worship. And all of a sudden, I started that shaking again. And I'm shaking so hard. My teeth are chattering. I'm vibrating. I felt like I was just going to, like one of those little bouncy toys you wind up, they go, boom, 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 boom. I literally thought, maintain yourself, girl. You're going to be bouncing right across the stage. So I'm standing there and I'm shaking. And my first thought is, this is supernatural. I need Rodney to feel this. So I wanted him to experience it. So I reach over and I grab his hand. And he scoots over closer to me. So now he's just shoulder to shoulder with me. And we're just standing there. And literally, I am vibrating. I'm shaking harder and faster than is humanly possible. I feel no pain. I feel no windedness. I'm just like, I'm warm honey. I'm just like, I didn't care that anybody else was in that room. I didn't care what anybody was saying. I didn't care about anything. I was just full contentment. And about that time, Pastor Craig comes up and he says, I'm not a word guy. I'm not a guy that gives everybody a word. He said, but I really do have a word for you. God wants you to know he's a God of mercy. That was my word. And so, keep it together. Still got a lot to say. So he goes and he lays hands on me. And I believe that. That's part of my faith. That's who I am. That's what I believe. I believe it. The scripture clearly says, lay hands on the sick and they will recover. And that's what I was believing for. And so he lays hands on me and he says, God, I just pray that you just touch her. Burn this thing out of her. Whatever it is, just burn it out of her. And he laid his hands on my forehead. No big deal. Had it done a million times. And all of a sudden, I'm not a sweating kind of girl. I'm a mist. I'm a dewy girl. All of a sudden, literally, sweat is pouring off the top of my head. I can feel it rolling in my hair. It's rolling behind my ears and literally puddling. And so Lori hands me, the pastor's wife, a tissue thinking I'm crying. No, it's sweat puddles. I'm literally dripping. I had to wear a dress because obviously nothing fits a girl looks like Humpty Dumpty. And so I literally have it rolling down my back. My underwear band was soaked with sweat. I'm dripping and I'm thinking, I don't care. All of a sudden, nobody else was in that place. The pastor was still praying. Bless his heart, I'm sure it was a great prayer. But all I could think of was, I'm standing in the presence of God. There is something so supernatural happening to me right now that it's physically having an effect on my body. I didn't care. And all I could do was say, God, you're right there in front of me. It's just like I could reach out and touch you right now. Sorry, keeping it together. So we get done praying. And mind you, as I'm leaving, I'm blowing kisses to people that I know. I'm sending little hearts. I love you. Thank you, guys. Because I didn't want to make a big scene, I've already made enough of a scene coming in. So I leave. I get out to the car and I pull down the visor. I look like a scary clown. Makeup ran down, mascara all down. My hair was all stuck to my forehead because I looked like somebody had doused me with a hose. I look over at Rodney and I go, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? And he goes, would it have made a difference? Nope, not at all. So for those of you that saw me that day, my apologies. So I look at Rodney and I go, Rodney, supernaturally, did you feel that? I go, I was just vibrating like a typewriter. And he goes, I could feel it. That was awesome, because that meant that the presence of God was so strong that it went through me into Rodney. And I so badly wanted him to experience what I was experiencing. And I said, did you feel the heat? And he goes, no. And I'm like, oh. And then I thought, that's even more God. Because here's why. He didn't have anything to have burned out. I did. He didn't. He was just in the presence of God. And so I'm sitting here thinking, not only that, no one can go, well, you were up by the stage. There was this lights and all the equipment. It would be hot there, sweetie. No, it wasn't. It was a supernatural thing. Now, I woke up the next morning thinking, I'm going to be a size 12. I've never been a size 12, but, I'm a woman of faith. So, hey, let's believe to move mountains. Nothing, but I knew I'd had an encounter with God. And all of a sudden, I knew, because I've been believing for healing. I'm a huge believer. I believe in miracles. I've seen miracles. We've had miracles in our family. My daughter was healed of epilepsy. My other daughter was healed of asthma. My son had literally a broken bone that we prayed over and literally was miraculously healed. So yes, I believe in healing, and that's what I expected. But after that Sunday, I'm like, God, I'm still believing for a miracle. But I know you're there. Fast forward to Wednesday. All right. They go in, they said, look, it'll be a 2-hour surgery. We're just going to go in, remove the mass, you'll be good. If we find something sketchy, it's probably going to be about 5 or 6 hours. So just prepare yourself. I go through surgery. I'm a trooper, arguing with the doctors. No, not going to do this. No, not going to do that. Yeah, I'm that kind of patient. Really sucky. I open my eyes in recovery. First thing I see is a clock. Crap, it's 6 hours. That's not good. I look at the nurse and I go, malignant or benign? She goes, I can't tell you anything. All of a sudden, here comes my knight in shining armor. Here comes Rodney, because literally they lost me. They lost me and forgot me in recovery. But Rodney wasn't going to let that happen. Here he comes bursting through the doors. Where's my wife? My hero. I reached over and I said, I could see the clock. It's bad. And he goes, yeah. And I said, days, weeks, or months? And he said, no, not like that bad. I'm like, oh, thank God. Well, I can work with not days, weeks, or months, because I was thinking, oh, that would suck if it's days, because I'm going to be stuck in here. What fun things am I going to do? No bungee jumping. No, I don't even know what's on my bucket list. Probably go to the park with the kids, So I'm glad it wasn't days. So they did find some sketchy stuff. And so then I had to go through the process of waiting for all of that to come back. And it is with great and glorious news I can announce that all the cells were contained. They were wrapped up in this 35-pound tumor. They said they basically removed a 2-year-old toddler from my belly. Add that to the 44 pounds of fluid. That means between the periocentesis and the surgery, I dropped 100 pounds in less than 6 weeks. Advice? Don't go that route. I am rebuilding. They cut me from pillar to post. I said, I feel like, you remember on the scene on Wizard of Oz when the monkeys got the scarecrow and they pulled all of his stuffing out and all that was left was his head and arms? Literally, that's the way I felt. I'm like, oh my God, somebody's going to have to restuff me. So I'm going through the restuffing phase with things like donuts and ice cream. And today I just had fried macaroni and cheese. Score for me, trying to add my stuffings back. And so I am recovering. I'm still not very public because I'm still post-operative, which sounds, I call it diva status. Yeah, and so I can't lift anything. I can barely talk. Of course, today I'm 24 minutes into this, and so obviously I'm doing better. But I will be out and about. There will be no follow-up treatment necessary. They will monitor me. They said just preliminary, but they said, girl, you're good to go. Go live your life. Here's my thing. That Sunday at church, what did God burn out? Obviously it was something, because when you have a 100-pound mass in your belly and your kidneys and liver and heart and everything had been affected by it, and they let you walk away and go, we removed it, you're good to go. Your recovery, stellar. Oh, and I didn't even tell you the fact that even after they cut me from pillar to post, I didn't want to take any medication. I literally went through this full surgery with Tylenol and ibuprofen. Not because I'm a hero, not because I'm a saint, but because God knew the desires of my heart, and He let me have that. He was with me every step of the way. My faith is stronger than ever. I believe in miracles more than ever. I believe in healing more than ever. I don't know why I went through the surgery, but I know he was with me through it. I know that he strengthened me. He strengthened my family. And I'm here to say the rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated. So for those of you that think Rodney buried me in the yard, actually the truth is he's been my rock. He's been my hero. He's put my underwear and bath towels out every morning so that it's one thing I didn't have to do. And so he didn't knock me off yet. Day's still young. So I wanted to tell my story. I know it's long. My apologies. But so many people have asked, and I figured this was the best way to get it done. I have more pictures. I'll show them to you if you ask me. It's too long to pull them up. I was going to try that, but nah. Someday I'll be more technologically advanced and probably do a better job. But in the meantime, that's the story. I'm doing great, and I'll be seeing you soon.